Cars then with the lights on red make their way slowly up towards the line. We hit 4:30, the lights go green, the pace quickens, everybody blasts away. It's going to be Stefan Mucker who tries to get the lead, but right alongside of his Pietruini who gets his nose in front on the outside line. Stefan Mucker on the inside, Pietruini spins at the very first corner. One of the VDS BMWs goes off in avoidance. There are cars everywhere, and on cold tyres Alessandro Pietruini could very nearly have caused mayhem.
That was the very question I asked him on the grid. Are you going to go side by side through the corner with Stefan Mucker? And what happens? He tries to, he gets on the outside of the corner, and around she goes. Oh, that was an avoidance. Amazing.
Well, they've all survived just about as they get towards their cut. Some will have lost track position because of that, but the key thing is they're still going, and Alessandro Pietruini really should have known better.
Look, you're in a race, lights go out, side by side, you think you've got the advantage. If you can hold the outside in the first part of Eau Rouge up to Radio, you'll be on the inside as you come onto the Kemmel Straight, and you can gain that decision. But, you know, 24 hours, not 24 milliseconds.
And he could very nearly have wiped out others. So it's a shuffled order. The cars turning their way through Bruxelles for the first time. Already some of the back markers just dropping away. But look at this as they turn their way downhill out of the so-called Speaker's Corner. The leaders are going through Cour. And don't forget that not only has Pietruini had a spin, he's also got to serve a drive-through, because yesterday in the Superpole he was out after his allotted time. So he's already got a self-imposed penalty from today as well as one from yesterday.
Well, he's had 2 of the lemons in the space of 24 hours. Hopefully he will not have a further one, but maybe this will allow cars to slow down. Just in fact, somebody just going slightly wide coming through the S's. But it is always a difficult moment with a field of 66 cars trying to get through and not literally bump or bang into one another.
Looking back to the number 35 Nissan there, that's the car that's being started by Lucas Ordonez as the field turns its way then for the first time towards the bus stop, heading up towards the end of lap number 1. Battles rage on right the way through the field as this multi-million euro grid goes through, and a spin already for the number 9 McLaren, and that is the car being started by Mike Wainwright, the man that foots the bill, the gentleman racer.
Doesn't look like it's going an awful lot further either. That car looks like it's come to a stop, and wait and see.
Into the pit lane comes Nick Tandy, so the 911, because it's number 911, comes down the pit lane to serve this 1 minute stop-go penalty. Well, the good thing is he'll get that out of the way, and significantly by doing it now, of course, John, he will remain on the lead lap.
Yes, and if you get it out of the way, get back into the race, he'll probably rejoin the race pretty more, not quite at the tail of the field, I suspect, but get it served, get it over and done with, settle down and let this race then take its course.
Now, Stefan Mucker leads. Nick Katzberg, after amazing avoidance, runs second. Third is Alvaro Perret. Fourth is Maxime Martin. Fifth is Max Gert. And then in sixth place is number 73, which is Alex Frolov in another of the SMP Racing Ferrari that also has to serve a drive-through. And after his spin, where is Pietruini? He's down in 15th place, and you can spot him because he's the man with a really red face now.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, drop from 2nd to 15th is a miracle. That's almost a result in itself.
Imagine the shouts in race control as the race director saw what was going on and thought, oh, blimey, look at this. But they've all survived as the field powers up the Kemmel Straight there, but going to the inside line, the Pro Speed 75 Porsche with Maxime Soulet, Belgian driver, at the wheel of it. And I just get the feeling that the Porsches are worth watching in this race. Many of those bronze drivers, not just here for the good of their health, and down the order, look, number 5. The McLaren in the hands of Greg Gilbert tries to gain ground. Everywhere you look, there's a gaggle of cars all squabbling for track position.
And what's going to happen, not just in these opening laps, but as the race begins to progress, you'll find there will be suddenly gaps on the racetrack. You could come onto the Kemmel Straight and not see a car ahead of you or a car behind, as the Porsche with damage to the left front makes its way down in the pit lane. So that must have been a consequence of that opening first, second corner in Eau Rouge. There's the McLaren that's got going again, but not going quickly.
Yeah, Mike Wainwright, to be fair, is the gentleman racer in that car. There is the Nick Tandy Porsche going down the hill, ready to rejoin. And of course, he served his 1 minute stop-go penalty, and now he's going to get back into the race. So that drops him way down the order. But as I say, he's still on the lead lap. And another car that we are getting a report of having had a spin early on is Ludovic Badet in the number 25 BMW. So 2 cars, 3 cars in fact, because of the Pietruini as well, spinning on that opening lap. We've seen Mike Wainwright, and now we get reports of Badet. Now there is the leader coming up towards the end of his second lap. Nick Tandy will stay on the lead lap, but only just.
Well, Stefan Mucker's got the ideal position. He had pole position from Superpole on Saturday evening. Got a clear track ahead of him, and he's just got to literally make hay as the sun's shining, because he's able to open up a gap 2.2 seconds ahead of the second place Nicky Katzberg in the BMW. The BMW is going to cling to the Aston Martin as much as it can, because the Katzberg BMW is a pro car, whereas the Aston Martin is a Pro-Am. So Katzberg knows he doesn't need to really make a big challenge at this stage. Once we get into the cycle of driver changes, then that advantage is going to go to the BMW.
Riding on board then now in number 1 with René Rast, winner last year, having also mopped up the Porsche Super Cup last year. It's again an Audi that looks like it might be struggling, and Thomas Jaeger just breezes past, doesn't he, in the Mercedes. Everybody you talk to at Audi says, oh no, we can't win this year, we're not competitive. I don't buy that. I still think they're going to start looking a bit more promising in the second half of the race.
Well, I mean, the word that I was getting was that they feel this is going to be a difficult race for all the Audi drivers, and one of the things they may be doing is changing driver after every stint. Maybe rather than doing as some others will do with a double stint, they say that it gets really warm in the car handling has not been as good as we know the car is capable of. Therefore, it's going to be a race of the end for them rather than the beginning.
Trying to keep the drivers fresh, and there are some of them. Ulrich Lotter is down there, Laurens Vanthoor is down there, having had his off in the Super Pole yesterday. René Rast is driving Vanthoor's car, and he's trying to make his way up the order. He was 13th at the start of the lap. We saw him lose a place to Thomas Jaeger. I think he's losing more as well as he heads downhill. So Stefan Looker leading the way. Nick Katzberg is second. He was 2 seconds back, and a replay of the start. Well, we know what the outcome is, but John, talk us through this.
Well, as I said, side by side into turn 1, what are you going to do, Pierluigi? And he just said, no problem. Then all of a sudden, he's on the outside of the corner. It's dirtier there. We've had other races here. Spins across the front of the field. Fortunately, everybody had the chance to realise there was an incident. They got one side, one the other side. Some had to go off track on the left, on the right, but everybody pretty much got through unscathed. And a deep breath for the Ferrari.
And I had a look at that replay and saw just how close Nick Tandy came to disaster. Very quick reflexes from Nick Tandy to get out of the way. That was the Mike Wainwright spin in the body of the pack, and everybody able to dodge around it, but that in turn broke up the field. And what was all this about at La Source? The Joneses getting involved versus United Autosports. Godfrey Jones starts and has made contact with Glyn Geddy, and Glyn is not exactly shy when it comes to sticking out his elbows and getting stuck in. So when Glyn Geddy gets turned around, a lot's gone on in 2 laps.
Well, I mean, has nobody told these drivers that we are actually in an endurance event, and why they make challenges like that? If you're going to make a challenge, make it clean and make it stick. Don't make it half-heartedly. You stick your nose down the inside into the source. You're not far enough forward to take the position, but you've compromised yourself. More so, you've taken another car and damaged that car, possibly, certainly put it at a disadvantage.
And just in case you think this is a 10-lap sprint, we've only got 23 hours and 52 minutes to go. So up towards La Source comes, first of all, the number 6 Audi. That is the car in the hands of Christopher Haase, but he's under big pressure as he heads off now downhill. Christopher Haase trying to hang on to track position here, but the field queued up behind him, and Haase is certainly under attack as he plunges downhill once again. He's tumbling down the order. He's got Rob Bell in the Gulf McLaren up alongside him now and going through.
Yeah, but also the Audi just coming up through the Eau Rouge into Raidillon was way off track on the inside, so that was a bit of a save, but we're going to see lots of that in these opening laps.
And all the way down the order, you've got cars that you might think should be doing better than they are, but it's just such a strong entry as well. That's what is making it difficult. Marcus Winkelhock in the red and white Audi, number 16 at the head of that little gaggle, goes through. Also in there, number 12, Gregoire de Moustier, and already René Rast in the number 1 Audi being warned about respecting the track limits.
I think he's doing the best he can, and he's trying to get the most from his Audi and trying to keep himself in contact with the group of cars he's racing with. And the pro cars, you don't want to drop back. You want to keep that position because it will become vital as this race progresses.
So the field working its way currently through this 4th lap of the race. Other drivers being warned about track limits at different places. What progress of Nick Tandy? Well, of course, having joined in a long way down. Now he's trying to work his way back up the order once again. He'll be able to do that over the course of the stint. So number 911 becomes another one to try to keep an eye to, as there you see Porsche versus McLaren once again. The standings at the moment headed by Aston Martin with just under 2 seconds over the Katzberg BMW that's behind. And Nick Tandy is 63rd. Godfrey Jones, after that contact we saw at La Source, is in the pit, so the Mercedes, I'm afraid, has got some damage. And at the rear of the field at the moment is the number 15 McLaren of Laurent Pasquale that had engine dramas during the course of Thursday afternoon. So Tandy is in a hurry, but the Jones Mercedes, I'm afraid to say, is already in the pits.
Well, you know, you've damaged your own car. That's a penalty you've inflicted upon yourself. You may have damaged the Audi which got the contact. And on top of which, the stewards could look at that incident and think, well, was that an avoidable accident, or was it something that was a racing incident? They may consider the penalty of having to come into the pits to do some work to the Mercedes sufficient, or they could add more pain and say, once you've finished that work, then you've got to maybe have a drive-through. But we wait and see